You're listening to the Magnetic Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Calandra Martin, intuitive brand designer for spiritual entrepreneurs. The Magnetic Boss Podcast is where visionaries come together to openly share wisdom and authentic conversations. I know that you are ready to leave your legacy in the world and become sought out in your industry. I also know that you are sick and tired of getting overlooked. You're ready to have a magnetic business. I'm here to help you create your magnetic brand. It's my mission to help you show up confidently with a professional, irresistible online presence. If you're in this for the long game and all in on the big vision you have for your business, let's dive in. In this episode, I am joined by Jennifer Greiner, therapist turned human design coach. She is the queen of deconditioning, and she is the master of guiding you through mental and emotional challenges. She helps women step into and own their power, live in alignment, and manage their energy so that their lives and businesses can soar. And Jen has been on the show before, and I'm so excited to welcome her back. Jen, I am so excited to have you back on the Magnetic Boss Podcast. It has been a long time, but we have been working on some amazing things behind the scenes, and I'm really excited for this new series. So for our listeners, we are going to be sharing a human design specific series on the Magnetic Boss Podcast, with Jen coming in with her expertise and all of her knowledge and wisdom, and also some of our own experiences. So I'm really excited to dive into all of that. But first, let's just back up 10 steps, because I know that you've been on the podcast before, but for somebody that's maybe listening for the very first time and they're like, what is human design? Can we just dive right in and give them a quick overview of what human design even is?
Yes, absolutely. Starting at basics, it can be a great refresher for anyone who hasn't thought about this in a while too. So I think of human design as your energetic blueprint. It is a map to your internal energy mechanics. So human design combines Western astrology, combines the chakra system, the ancient Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah, tree of life, kind of the basis of tarot, and quantum physics. So there's absolutely a science to it. I think of it as the best personality assessment out there. If you've heard or worked with Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, those are all really great, but human design accounts for the consciousness like those do, but it also counts for your unconscious. So your blocks, what is stored in your body, those generational traumas that get held, or your predisposition to certain traumas, all on an energetic level.
Yeah, I discovered human design personally and in my business, but more so like on a personal level of what am I doing in this space, in this world, in this lifetime, right after my son was born, probably a few years after my oldest was born. So that was about, let's say, 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And I dabbled in it. But the moment that I took, I got my chart and I looked at it and I got the very basic synopsis of what my human design type was, I went, oh, like this is the most accurate representation of who I am and my personality that I have ever done. Like I've done the Enneagram, I've done Myers-Briggs, I've done all of those like personality tests. I mean, who hasn't? And I think that's why human design is something that is so attractive to us, is because many of us have grown up taking these personality quizzes. Like I remember going back to like middle school, looking in the Cosmopolitan magazines, like taking the quizzes and things. And like that's fun and it's lighthearted and it's amazing. And to have something that gives you not only an understanding of yourself, but permission to really dive into what makes you you, and to have so many in-depth layers, which we will be talking about on this series, it is eye-opening, game-changing, and it's like onion, like peeling the layers of an onion. I think of like the Shrek reference, but really it is the opportunity to be able to, yes, get the surface level information of, okay, this is my type. This is what makes me me. This is kind of how I can be about in the world with my unique energy. But then how can you get so much more specific in all areas of life and then apply that to business, which has been such a game changer for both of us.
Yeah, having this roadmap that allows you to align your business in such a beautiful way with your true authentic self, which is absolutely the way that we have to do business moving into this new paradigm. It just helps you back off. It gives you the permission slip to be you, to find ease within your business. I love working with the authority, which is your decision making, right? Like in our business, we make a lot of unaligned decisions. We're out of alignment. We fall into, a lower vibration, our shadows, we get triggered, our traumas come up, all of those things. So to really know how you're meant to make decisions so that you can really check in with that part of yourself to honestly like make less mistakes in your business.
Yeah, it's really, and I really appreciate that because I ran my business for the first few years really having no idea what the fuck I was doing. Like anybody that knows my story knows that I started in network marketing. I was following all of this like bro marketing strategies. I was hustling. I was really like just showing up, trying to be somebody else, trying to represent what other people were doing. And I saw some success, but not enough to be able to build a sustainable business off of. And when you and I connected, which was kind of a serendipitous circumstance on all fronts, and we both really leaned into this human design process, we went through this evolution of being able to see where we were at and how we were operating. And then over these last few years, really being able to shift and ramp up what we were doing before in a way that was more aligned and was more sustainable and now has so much more possibility and expansion and fulfillment, I think, for both of us too in our businesses.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful that, human design finds us when we need it. It found me about 5 years ago when I was giving into the societal conditioning. We'll talk about the generators and how I was trying to be a generator. I am not that energy type. So human design found me when I was in a place of burnout, priding myself on hustle culture, trying to, do the things that I was paying coaches to tell me to do that was not working. And I was getting so frustrated and bitter within my business because I was like, what am I doing wrong? And when human design came in, it was like, oh, well, in a way, you're doing everything wrong because actually you're meant to do it this way. Here's the roadmap. Follow along. Also, accept that, like, you move slowly and it's going to take a long time and you can't do it all alone. So that really helped me find ease and success in my business to create a sustainable foundation for myself through the wisdom that I have to share with clients, to guide. And it's just really amazing to be here, 5 years later after discovering human design through you, of course,
Of course.
and get to share it with everyone else.
Yeah, I love that the connection to human design was made by me for you because we were not in like we were connected because of business, but we were also connected through dog rescue and like all of these other avenues. But when we started really looking at human design and like you were opened up to the possibility of what this new system is, it was like Pandora's box. Like there was just so much that came from that, and it really ramped up our relationship as well. Like we have been so close in business and personal life for these last however many years. And I think that a lot of that is attributed to you being able to be the person that has the brain that can take the human design knowledge and really run with it. Whereas I was like, okay, this is great. Like I know the basics. I'm gonna go run with it, right? Because my Manny Gen energy, and you're able to really like look at the systems and how it all operates and how it works and the layers and how it applies to each individual. So it's been our collaboration and what we've been working on just makes so much sense now, like coming full circle.
Yeah, and especially to look at it through a human design lens. Like for anybody listening, if you work with a team, if you are in any type of partnership, relationship, business, friendship, like human design can not only give you the permission slip to understand yourself, right? Like after I know we went for a walk that day, you were like, "What's your human design?" I was like, "I'm sick of hearing about this. I'm finally going to figure it out." I did. I got home and just fell into the rabbit hole for 3 hours of like, I need to know everything. Oh my gosh, I've never felt so seen and recognized in all of this. So that allowed me again to be authentic in my business, but seeing and working with your human design and seeing your strengths, which we're going to talk about in a future episode, really allowed us to develop and create finally this awesome like business actual partnership.
Yeah, I mean, it was so funny because we never really talked about it, but it was something that we knew was going to happen. Like, it was just a natural evolution. And looking at our charts and how we complement each other, it's like, obviously, we're going to have a partnership and these amazing ways to support people. And I don't want to get ahead of the game here because I could talk about all of that with so much excitement. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what the human design types are. Because if somebody's new to human design and they're like, okay, this sounds interesting, what can they expect if they go and get their chart and figure out what their human design type is?
Yeah, so know that there will be a lot of information on there. So to keep it super simple, you're going to want to look at your type. It will say energy type, something like that. There are 5 different types. So just to name those 5 types, it's the generator, the manifesting generator, the manifestor, the projector, and reflector. So you will be one of those 5 types. Then each type has its own strategy, its not self and self or signature theme. And then you'll also have your authority. That's how you make decisions. And you'll definitely want to use that in your business. So, keeping it super simple, just looking at the 5 types and what that means for you. Simply knowing that, bringing it into your life and business, beginning to bring awareness to it and embodying it will change your life.
100%. And I will say, because I am such a like surface level information person and a little ADHD with this type of thing, like I learned about human design, I got my chart, I read the very basic intro of like, okay, I'm a manifesting generator, here's what that means. I didn't look at authority, I didn't look at any of that, profile lines, none of that. But just that information was something that really transitioned, and we'll talk about this in a future episode, my ability to stand in my zone of genius in business and to be able to use my unique gifts in the way that I had already been doing, but to really amplify that and give myself permission to show up that way versus trying to fit myself into a box of what some expert was telling me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So to talk just a little bit about each type, starting with a manifesting generator, right? I love that you are not putting yourself in a box because you are not meant to. You have shiny object syndrome. Likely every single manifesting generator has some ADHD, right? Because you're like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. And it's really about allowing yourself to do that. I mean, checking in with your body to make sure that it's aligned because you still can burn out, but you have so much energy and it's the energy to start things and to complete them when they light you up. So, really just allowing that magnetic energy, knowing that you get to be satisfied and find satisfaction. That's really what's going to guide you to alignment. And to be aware of the frustration. That is that lower vibration, that not self theme to be aware of and to see how can you find satisfaction. The other piece with manifesting generators is the strategy, right? In human design, we talk about strategy and authority. The strategy is to respond, not to react. Don't necessarily be impulsive, but make sure that you are responding because if you're not responding in your business, you're probably going to be frustrated. Things are going to work out. You're not going to find satisfaction necessarily as easily as you might be able to.
Yeah, I think that that is, I'm laughing because I know that you're like calling me out on some of these things because I have learned over the years that I can very easily put myself in a position where I am trying to conform, right? Like I'm trying to make it make sense or like try to simplify it in some way. Um, when really being able to like follow the creativity, but taking the time to like sit with it for a few minutes before I make rash decisions has been very important in my life.
Yeah, and I love that example because it's these little things, these little bits of awareness and these little acts of intention that will, just make your life easier and make your business a lot more successful.
Yeah. So Manny Gens, before you move on with the types, can you just speak to kind of what the ratio is of like the Manny Gens in the world, the sacral authorities and the non-sacrals? Because I think that that's an important differentiation for people that are going to be looking at their type and recognizing themselves a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So within the sacrals, those manifesting generators like you and generators, pure generators, they make up 70% of the world. That's why we've been in this hustle culture because to keep it short, we haven't really adjusted and moved into the paradigm that we moved into about 400 years ago, right? We're still trying to navigate it, to understand it, and kind of that's a lot when we're moving now into the next paradigm shift as well. So yeah, with 70% having the defined sacral, having connection to that life force energy to do what lights you up, to have the energy to complete it when it lights you up is a really big deal. And for the other three types to know that we don't have that, you know?
Well, you don't have it, and also you shouldn't try to put yourself in a position where you're forcing because then you're really taking away from your brilliance. And for me in business, that's been something that's really helpful to understand because I work with, and we'll talk about this later, a lot of projectors. I work with a lot of non-sacrals, and that's because I have the ability to take their vision and execute on it and see something come full circle or be that like energy or engine of whatever momentum they're trying to build so that they don't have to be stuck in burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so nice for us non-sacrals, to have someone to just do it really quickly and bring it back, and to take it off our plate too.
Okay,
Yeah, and then
go ahead.
within that 70%, right? All those manifesting generators and generators, half of them, when we talk about the authority and decision making, half of them are meant to go with your gut, get that hit, the and do it in the now. And the other half, like you, are actually not meant to do it in the now. You really kind of have to sit back, feel through it, ride the wave, and make sure that you have this emotional clarity to know, okay, now I'm ready to make this decision. So with half of that 70% needing to function in a slightly different way, which is newer and tapping into your feels, which there's so much conditioning around, is a really big piece of finding alignment.
Yeah, well, and it's also something that I'm glad you spoke to this because I've had to give myself permission on that because I like to see results quickly. It kind of is challenging for me a lot of the time to be like to have to stop and pause and be like, okay, is this a yes or a no? How do I feel about this? Because especially in business, if you're trying to be very strategy focused or you're trying to follow like a masculine structure, a lot of that is this like do. We're not checking in with our feelings. We're not in the feminine. So I've had to really learn how to balance that out of like, yes, I have the energy, I can do all the things, but also how do I feel about the things?
Yeah. And when business tells us, to make a decision in the moment. We have to move fast. It is so masculine, and we're really being called to bring that feminine into our business. But I know for me, for so many years, I was like, what does that even mean? What does that look like? I have resistance, I have conditioning. So to have human design to, again, literally lay out the blueprint of, here is what you need to do. Let's keep this really simple and just do these one or two things.
Yes.
And that's it.
I love it. Okay, I feel like we could go down so many rabbit holes. Let's move on to generators as we're talking about our sacral beings.
Yes. So of the 70% of sacrals, half are manifesting generators and the other half are pure generators. So they have that sacral life force energy. Do what lights you up. Listen to your gut. Make sure that you're not initiating. You're not here to start big, brand new, never done things. Can you start things in your business and start projects and start things that really light you up? Yes, absolutely. But make sure that you're not going outward and, let somebody else initiate it so then you can respond to it, still seeking that satisfaction and watching out for that frustration.
Yeah, I think that that's super important. And we know a few generators and how that can play out in business because, yes, launch the program, yes, create the new offer, but also make sure that you're doing that in a way that actually works with your energy type. Because it's so easy in business to just like do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, prioritizing and focusing is the number one thing that generators need because they have so much energy that with the society that we live in, they just kind of do, hustle, hustle, when that just kind of burns them out. And if they are focused and really doing the one thing that lights them up, especially in business, oh my, like there is just so much that can be done, and they're just so magnetic and can really just get be lit up by what lights them up.
Yeah, I love that. It's like amplifying what is already magic. Like you're just adding so many layers of that magnetic energy. And I just want to pause and say, I think it's so funny that I named my business Magnetic Boss Studio years before I understood human design because it makes so much sense that magnetic would be the theme of what I do and how I help people. It just like had that light bulb moment.
And that's like my favorite part of what I do is how people have inherently found alignment without knowing any of this, right? The generator and manifesting generator aura is open and enveloping. It is just pulling life to you. So the fact that you intuitively knew that and named your business Magnetic Boss, like, yes, of course.
Of course, it makes so much sense. And now, like, to be able to build off of that and peel back those layers. Okay, so moving on to the next type that you want to focus on.
Yeah, so let's talk about the non-sacrals, right? The three types that don't have that life force energy. We function very, very differently. So it's important for us to not get caught up in the hustle society culture because we can't maintain it. It is not sustainable. We face utter burnout. So the first type I'll talk about is manifestor. So manifesting generators have a little bit of this. That's what makes them, manifesting generators. So manifestors, it's a small percentage of the world, only 8%. And they're here to, yeah, small percentage.
I don't remember these stats. And then when you say them, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. And especially in my life, I'm surrounded by so many
I'm
manifestors.
saying I have two in my household, three in my household.
Right. Right. So they're so special because they're here to initiate, to get new things started and then hand them off. And they move through these beautiful cycles, this creative output. They have what we call a motorized throat. There is a motor, there is this energy connecting to their throat, the center of expression that allows them to create whatever it is they are here to create, their purpose. So it's through that creative output that they spend time doing. that and putting it out there. And then they go into a rest cycle where they pull back and they're like, you might not see from me, you might not hear from me, but I need to really recover from all the magic that I just created and put out there so that I can do it again. Right. Usually, once they initiate something, they're like, I'm done with it, right? They might not finish a lot of projects. So that's why it's great to have someone to share it with, maybe a generator that it lights them up so that it can still come to fruition to get completed. But the manifestor really honoring that rest cycle and following their strategy to inform. So many manifestors do not let people know what they're up to, what they're going to go initiate. So just make sure that you are informing, letting everyone know what you're doing, what you're going to do, what's going on for you. It will just make your life so much easier. It will make your life so much more peaceful, your signature theme, and a lot less anger, the not self theme.
I'm laughing through all of this. I just have to share with our listeners and people watching because my husband is a manifester. And we've had this conversation, and Jenn has done the compatibility readings for me, my husband, and my three children. And it's so, so accurate, some of these things. Like, it blows my mind how much human design can tell us and explain to us and come into um, our awareness of how we are connecting and working alongside the people that we are closest to, whether it's our family, loved ones, relationships, business, team members, clients. Like, it is so insightful to know some of these things about the other people that we are coming into contact with.
Yeah, I really, especially for my type as a projector, I really see human design as allowing us to see the unseen. We really get to see the underlying energy that is at work. And within our relationships, within our business, there is that energetic movement in whatever way, whether it's in full flow, whether it's stuck, whether someone is pushing on it and triggering it, right? Human design gets to show us these pieces that we have not been aware of, but that we're really needing to be aware of and to work with to navigate.
Yeah, I drive everybody in my life crazy because if we come up against something or somebody in my life is struggling with something, I'm like, well, what's your human design type? And maybe we should ask Jenn about this.
Yes, yes. Right, because it gets to be easier. And I'll speak to the projector type now because we are the newest type. We are the guides and seers. We're over 20% of the world. So there's a lot of us now, and we're here to really guide everyone into the new paradigm, right? What do we do with this new knowledge? What do we do in this changing landscape? I'm feeling lost. What was working forever is no longer working. So projectors really we're here to find mastery in our purpose, right? For mine, it's to guide people through human design. Um, but we really get to see into people. We work great one-on-one, but don't necessarily have to, but to guide and help people be more efficient because we are extremely efficient. We do not have a lot of energy to burn. So we often face burnout. Our strategy is to be recognized. We just long to be recognized that a lot of times we push and force ourselves to get recognized, and we're just met with bitterness, which is our not self theme, which all projectors know. We can get swept in a cloud of bitterness, but we're here for success. We are destined for success in whatever true authentic definition that holds for you, but knowing that we are here to do things very, very differently. We see the world in a unique way, so watch out for giving unsolicited advice because we're really good at that. So we need to be recognized and really wait for the invitation to share and to guide. Otherwise it's bitter. And it doesn't have to be bitter. It can be really, really, and gets to be successful.
Yeah. I think with projectors, what I find so interesting is that up until pretty recently, society has just like thrown you into this mold of fit in and do this and have endless energy. And to be able to recognize that that's actually not how you operate best, especially in business, is something that really opens up so much possibility, especially in business.
Yeah, and projectors, we're all so different too. Yes, we're over 20%, but there are five different authorities, five different ways that projectors are meant to make decisions. So oftentimes projectors really struggle with deconditioning and making aligned decisions because we're taught to go with your gut. That is the worst advice to give to any non-sacral. But when we're forced to function in the now and give an answer in the moment, no wonder why we're met with bitterness and regret, because we don't have the time or sometimes the like body awareness to check in with ourselves, to be recognized, to get to make aligned decisions.
Yeah. And I think with projector human design types, there's so much ability for you to be able to have these connections and collaborations. And that's something that you've seen in your business unfold and that I've been able to watch happen is like you now stand in your power as a projector of being invited into things and then having those invitations light you up. And it really compounds the momentum and the excitement and being in alignment with your purpose and having that fulfillment so that you are able to then manage needing to check your energy and avoid burnout. It's just such a different way of doing things that many people are not used to. And to have that permission slip of like, okay, maybe something's out of alignment, here's how we can figure it out for you is just amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's really why we wanted to create the resource that we did for projectors, because when you find out that you're a projector and you get that permission slip of being seen, of being allowed to do things differently, your own unique way, there is just a magic that happens for you to begin to decondition, to step into your power and really fulfill a much needed purpose that you are here to fulfill, to really help your community or even help the world.
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at this on such a small scale of our individual human design. And yes, maybe the connections that we have with each other. But then if you think about the power of being able to know your human design, know the human design of the people around you, and to be able to support them and really like amplify their impact, the ripple effect of that is monumental. Like it is incredible to me, especially for us women business owners, how much change we are able to create because of this knowledge and how much we're able to then share our gifts, which is contributing to the greater good and to this paradigm shift. And it just gets me so excited.
I am just having like a full body chills over here, which is my sacral's way of telling me, like, yes, oh my God, this is magical. This is what you desire. This is pleasure filled. So, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
that has been, I just have to say before we talk about reflectors, I don't want to forget about them because they're also very important. But with what we've been working on, like that has been the response from both of us in our own sacral yeses and our own confirmation of like, this is a hell yes in every single level, on every front. The whole process of the offers that we've created has been so easy, so seamless. And I really attribute that to the fact that like we know a lot about our human design and we have been able to use that and incorporate that in launching these offers, not only for our own benefit, but also for the way that we're able to then support people with these systems and with this knowledge.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you and I have been friends for, gosh, I think it's like at least 6 years now, and
At
that we are just moving into creating something, I think is a beautiful representation of how we've really allowed for flow, that we did not force, we did not, yes, we've collaborated in some other ways in the past, but we did not, try to create something or force it for whatever reason. So I think it's just so beautiful to really see the power of waiting, that all of these things, we both were on our own journey, all of the things in our own businesses that really had to move along their path in order for us to get to this place where we now create this magic and have these amazing offers to share.
well, I mean, it's embodiment to its fullest extent. Like you have been able to embody your human design, I've been able to embody mine. That has then rippled into our businesses in many different ways. And now we get to take that knowledge and the success that we've seen for ourselves and our clients and use that to help more people do the same.
Absolutely. And on that note of waiting, it's a really good segue to talk about reflectors. So, reflectors, the fifth energetic type and the rarest, only 1% of the world is reflectors. They are so unique. They are unicorns. They are completely undefined. They have no consistent energy. They are lunar beings. They move with the energies of the moon. So reflectors really need to work with the moon in whatever capacity you're ready to honor and to embody, because your strategy is to wait a lunar cycle, which is 28 days. So to really honor that slowness, to honor the real sensitivity that reflectors have of feeling their environment. Their environment is everything because they are constantly sampling the energy around them. So if reflectors are in an environment that does not feel good to them, they'll lower their vibration. They'll move into their not self theme of disappointment, which is just like heart wrenching for me, because they're really just here to reflect you back. So it's so beautiful to have a reflector in your space because typically you feel really seen. You feel your own energy. They're kind of like mirrors reflected back to you. So reflectors really need to rest, right? Without that consistency, they need to put themselves into an environment that feels so nourishing, so juicy, so good, and just kind of wait for the clarity, wait for the answers to come. So they find their signature theme, their self theme is surprise and delight. So when something comes in, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? Or wow, that really delights me. That surprised me. That's really how they're meant to be and to move in this world.
Yeah, I've known a few reflectors personally. I've had a reflector client, a reflector friend in the past, and it's so interesting to watch how different they operate and how different their energy is from everybody else's. And I think that it's something that when they understand that, it really gives them peace of being able to know, like, oh, like that's how I can show up and really feel that joy in life.
Yeah, and also to uphold their boundaries, right? No, I can't go. This environment does not feel good. I need to get out of it, right? So to have those healthy boundaries and not to stunt the sensitivity and the reflection that they are here to provide to the world. I always think of reflectors as like the old wise women who sat, in their own wonderful, cozy, dark space that everyone else sought them out for the wisdom to have their life, their goings on reflected back to them.
Yeah, it's so, so fun. Like everything about just the human design types. I mean, I just want to talk about this all day, every single day with everybody. And I kind of do. Even though you're the person that has the knowledge, it's like I can't help myself. When I bring on new clients, I'm asking them their human design type. When I am supporting people in various capacities, I'm asking them human design type. I ask my family members constantly, like, did you look at that? Did you do that?
Yeah, and
And
I love how it's gaining so much more momentum and awareness because human design came about in the 80s. So it hasn't been around for that long, right? 40 years to have this system, to learn about it, to share the knowledge, to embody it, to decondition, right? There's so much to human design. So I love that that was kind of a benefit through COVID, through the pandemic, when everyone kind of hopped on the personal development train and found human design, that now everybody is really talking about it. And I love connecting with someone new and being like, have you heard of human design? And they're like, either, yeah, I've heard about it, but that's it. And I'm like, great, that's a good starting point. Or they're like, oh yeah, I grabbed my type. I know a bit about it. So it's so cool to see the awareness of the magic and the power of human design grow.
yeah. Well, and I think that with this, it's like you see people approach human design with so much excitement, no matter what. Like I've never come across somebody who's been like, yeah, I checked my human design type. It was cool. Like it's not like the other personality tests. It is something that cracks people open. Whether they're interested in learning more about it or not, just simply knowing their type can change their life, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. And that's why I love helping guide people, like let's crack you open. Let me use my therapeutic skills to understand where you've been and where to go, how to turn those into strengths and to new forward aligned direction.
Yeah, I just I love it so much. So let's talk about what we've been working on as we wrap up this episode. So if you're listening to this episode and to this point you've been like, okay, this sounds really fun. This sounds very exciting. I want to know more. Where should people go to get their chart? And then we can lead them into what we have to share with them.
Yeah, so there are many places to get your free chart. You can certainly Google free human design chart. So many people have them on their websites. My favorite place to pull a chart is a website called myhumandesign.com. She does a great job of giving you a little blurb about things so that you have a little understanding of what it means, what you're looking at. So you can go to myhumandesign.com, type in your date of birth. You do need your exact time of birth and your place of birth. If you don't have your exact time of birth, don't let that deter you. There are many ways to go about rectifying that. But just grabbing your type and again, looking at your type. You'll see your strategy, you'll see your not self theme, you'll see your signature theme, and you'll see your authority on there, as well as many other things. But that is step one.
Yeah, step one, know your type, because then you can really step into the next step based on where you're currently at in your life, in your business, and where you see yourself going in the next year, in the next 3 years, the next 5 years. So, what we've been working on is going to allow people to have support in this area of their business with bridging the gap between how do you create a brand and a business that stands out and attracts people to you, but how do you do it in a way that is aligned and actually is sustainable and doesn't lead to burnout and lights you the fuck up?
Yeah. Yeah. And human design really helps you understand your own energetics, what to bring out into your branding, what is really important for you, where to start, when it comes to branding. So while we have some very special things for projectors, we also have some really good things for everyone else too.
Yeah, so let's speak to the two things. The first one is the Projector's Guide to Seven Figures and Beyond. This is such an incredible gateway to being able to build that sustainability, to refine your vision as a projector without reaching burnout, and to really have that confidence in your brand and in your business and in what you're creating so that you can show up with that power without having the bitterness follow suit or feeling like you have to stick to somebody else's strategy or some other model of business that you've maybe been taught before. So this is a completely free guide. We put so much love and attention into this, and Jen, you've poured so much magic into the projector guide specifically because you are a projector, you've lived this, you've experienced it, you've embodied it. So this is available right now. I'll put the links in the show notes for all of this stuff, but the Projector's Guide to Seven Figures and Beyond is at soulsignaturebrand.com. You can get access to that, and that leads you directly to our one-on-one container with Jen and I, where we are going to actually help you with, yes, understanding what this means for you if you're a projector in business, but then helping you execute on that with having your branding done, with having your website done, and all of the like strategy and the doing and the things that require some hustle with my help, and also the conditioning and embodiment work with Jen, and really getting your energetics in alignment.
Yeah, yeah, and seeing yourself, right? Projectors, we really need to recognize ourselves so that others can recognize us and then bring us the aligned invitations. So through, this two-part, year-long, juicy, safe, supportive container, you really get to see your authentic self, really start to decondition, to let go of who and what you are not, and honor who you are, your unique way of doing things, to step into your power for yourself, your own life, but also to bring into your business, to bring into your brand for ultimate success.
Yeah, it's just so exciting to me. This container, Soul Signature, is something that we've been able to take both of our expertise and the things that we've been doing for clients for years now and seeing so much success with the people that we work with, and to tie it together in a full experience that doesn't leave any room for like missing out on something or overlooking or overshadowing a different area of your business. It really blends together. What I've always spoken to is the energetics and the strategy of your business to be able to have that sustainability and for it to really create that momentum that brings you to the level and the vision that you're excited about. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's for projectors specifically. We also have been working on some extra special magic this year with our new mastermind. And I'm just like, you know this, we've been talking about this. I am like bubbling every time I talk about it. I almost like can't put sentences together because I'm so excited about this container. This is going to be an experience for all human design types. So we've been specifically talking to projectors for this one-on-one work because we know how important it is to be able to have that processing, that deconditioning, and being seen in a container that is really a safe held space. But for the other human design types, projectors included, we really wanted to create something that allowed for being held, being supported, but also stepping alongside entrepreneurs who are doing this work and embodying this work and really getting the resources and the support from us to be able to do that this year in a container that is just so energetically charged. I can't even describe it.
Yeah, and it's a place where we get to share all the wisdom that we have shared and accumulated over the years. And I think another aspect that really is super special about this mastermind is the community aspect. I know for me personally, and what I've been seeing in the world around me, is that we are just longing for community. We are longing for the connection, especially projectors, to be seen, but really everyone, like everybody wants to be recognized, to get the feedback, to have questions answered, to share. So I just really love that this mastermind also includes a community.
Yeah, and that's really the heart of it with Creatrix. We didn't even say the name.
You know,
Creatrix Mastermind. We're creating this community space where everybody gets a seat at the table, right? Like everybody is creating their own vision. They are on their own path. They are doing their own embodiment work, whether it's with human design or with something else that they are working on a personal development level. and bringing that into business where you get to have the community support and feedback and accountability and just bridging everything together to have that ability to step into a higher level, to sit with people that are going in this higher level. And as an intro to the mastermind and as a gift to our audience, we're sharing a 5-day challenge that will be completely free. And it starts next, is it next week? Week after next. I can't keep track of time.
On the 17th.
Monday, February 17th. If you're listening to this in real time, we are running the Align to Six Figures 5-day challenge completely free. And we're going to walk you through how to start bridging the gap between your human design, your branding, why that's super important. We've touched on a lot of that in this episode, but we're really going to give you the actionable steps to be able to start doing this work and seeing the results in your business in 5 days, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, and to have, this is a great introduction to the both of us and how we work, because within this free challenge, you're going to get branding tips. You're going to start to align your brand and your business. You're going to understand your human design on a slightly deeper level, especially if you're new, to really understand what your type means, what your strategy means, what does this all mean when you apply it to business. So within this free challenge, getting all these steps, all of these pieces, all of the actionable steps, right? You get a workbook with this too. It's really going to set you up for the momentum, especially in the energies that are ramping up right now, leading us into spring. But there's just so much goodness to really launch into your aligned business. And especially if you're interested in working with the both of us in this Creatrix mastermind that we've been talking about, there's the early bird discount. And to get in for year-long support, implementing and embodying all of this.
Yes. And this challenge, you're going to get the workbook, but you're also going to be getting a live call with us on Zoom every single day for the 5 days, which is insane. Like the fact that we're giving this challenge away for free is honestly mind blowing. It might not be free forever at this point. I'm like, maybe we should be charging for this. And you'll have access to a Telegram group to be able to share and ask your questions and have that community support, similar to how you will have support from us in the Creatrix Mastermind.
Yeah, I'm so excited just for, what a perfect time with the middle end of February, and then to lead us into March, into, the astrological new year with the spring equinox. Like it's just really perfect timing. I'm so excited for us to share all of our wisdom. And yeah, this is just an amazing opportunity to get all of this for free.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if you're interested in joining us in the challenge and checking out the mastermind, go to creatrixmastermind.com /challenge just to get to the challenge. We're going to have that all set up. The links will be in the show notes for you. And honestly, I feel like just to wrap this episode up with the human design intro, there's so much more coming in this series. And if this isn't getting you excited, like just hold on because this is just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more to share. We're so excited to share all of this knowledge and these experiences, our personal experiences as well. So I hope that our listeners are getting something really incredible from this conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Calandra. And I can't wait to talk again next month about human design and branding.
We'll be chatting about that so soon. Thanks for coming on, Jen.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you are listening so you never miss a beat. For episode show notes, visit calandramartin.com /podcast. Your iTunes reviews and your sharing of the show helps us reach more magnetic bosses just like you. Until next time.